All right. Well, let's get this show on the road here. Hi, Viz. How's it going?
Hello, I'm doing good.
All right. Glad to hear it. This is kind of a weird one because we actually know you a little,
bit.
outside of the interview process. Normally, I have to introduce myself and be like, "Hey, nice to meet you. I was meeting for the first time." Not so. Not so with this one. All
I
right.
got handed a pickle soaked in moonshine last time I hung out with you guys.
That's true. I turned myself into a pickle.
Oh yeah.
Dude, it's come full circle.
Yeah, I'll post the picture of it. I don't know why.
Prophecy is true.
Well, I'll tell you exactly why. To get off a bit of a tangent. So I woke up on April 1st and I was on Reddit, and it was like a out of the loop, like here's what all the subreddits are doing for April Fools. And one of them was like, this people are now all about like baseball instead of basketball or something. Like they sort of like switched. These be like this TV show is now doing some other TV show or something. And then it said Borderlands 2 turned itself into a pickle. Funniest shit I've ever seen. Right? And so I was like, that's pretty funny. And so I made my own. I took my avatar and I just cut out the face and I put on a pickle and I changed my avatar to a pickle. And I just thought it was like, this is so fucking stupid.
It's fucking great.
Oh man. But it made me laugh, so I'll keep it for a few days.
I like it.
All right.
It's definitely worth at least the first week of April.
Oh, easily.
All right. Squeaky chair.
Yeah, I'm trying not to move too much.
It's all good. Okay, so getting into it, you asked us to do this category, right? When we talked about it, and you're like, dude, when's Hollow Knight speedruns? Right?
Indeed.
You pushed for true ending.
Mm-hmm.
So, in your own words, can I get you to explain to me why you think true ending is the category to do a video on?
Yeah, so I actually Zero asked me this question the other day too, and it's for a couple reasons. One is because I think it's the most interesting category to show people who aren't very familiar with Hollow Knight. It covers just enough to be interesting to like the outside, like to people that don't actually play the game, and also it's like it's not a very arbitrary category. It's like a completely different ending, and then on top of that, it's one of the hardest easily. So you get to see like people overcome challenges, like doing Radiance with just 5 health is pretty difficult since Radiance does 2 damage, and then it has a lot more of an opportunity for like it's just long enough to be like interesting that way, but it also is short enough to where like it's not covering like the whole game. Like if you did 106, you'd be here for 2 hours trying to explain like just explaining the whole route, and it has enough route changes where like any percent, it's if one ever gets made by me or by anybody, it'll be a lot of like, and then we just did the same route but faster. Like people got better at this room and figured out a faster way to do this room, but like the route doesn't change. Whereas this, like we have a lot of wiggle room of like how we want to get the essence, how we want to, what upgrades are worth collecting, and the routes changed a couple times, even recently, where Monster was doing Shriek route, whereas now we all collectively agree we think Shade Soul route is faster. So it has routing differences, and then like people obviously got better.
Yeah, I was talking to Monster about that, and it definitely seemed like he was pushing for that, and then it kind of realized that that's going to top out before Shade Soul tops out, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But it's cool to think that there's like a totally different route that you could take that's almost just as fast.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely similar, and the funny part is, whenever we were discussing it, I think I'm not sure exactly who discovered the Shriek route. I want to say Homothety, but don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure, but when we found it, Monster immediately like wanted to start running that, even though it's miserable. And me and Scurry were still running Shade Soul, and we'd been running Shade Soul for like a couple months, maybe like a year at most. And our combined Summer Best was slightly slower than Monster's own Summer Best by himself with Shriek. So people were like, "Oh, it's obviously 100% faster, Shriek route, because like even in a lower amount of time, Monster's Sum of Best is better. But it's like, yeah, but it's still Monster. Like, if you know him in any other category, he's nuts. Like, he's a monster. Like, literally, he's a monster. So like, for me, it didn't prove everything, like anything concrete, because we didn't have a perfect idea of like which one was 100% faster. But now that Umu One Cycle got discovered for Shade Soul, even Monster was like, okay, actually no, I think it's undeniable. Shade Soul is probably faster if you get One Cycle Umu now.
Mm-hmm. He said those exact words. Yeah,
love to hear it.
So, okay, that's a good explanation. I think the thing about True Ending that I talked to Monster specifically I said, what specifically is it when people are like, oh, we did a reroute? I'm like, what specifically are the things that you're rerouting? And he talked about it's about which bosses we're fighting, which upgrades we get, right? That's the one, right? It's like, okay, what upgrades do we need to get, and which bosses do we fight, and like in what order do we fight them, stuff like that. So there's definitely like the most wiggle room in this category. It's you have more freedom because you have like a higher threshold of like, we need a lot more essence. So we need to get a lot of essence. We need to fight a lot of bosses. So that means we need to figure out which way do we do this. Yeah,
like it's the only one that there is the wiggle room, and because like all skills is get the skills. You can't cut any of them out because they are required. 106 is everything that's a percentage, and then any percent's like the only thing we get that's not 100% required is the Shaman Stone, which makes us do more damage, but it's like on the way, so it's like not even a question. Like, we're gonna get it. It's the best charm in the game anyway. I guess technically you don't have to get dash, but it is like 100% minutes faster to get the dash than not to get it. So like, you're just doing the stuff that's required for what you're trying to do in the fastest way. Whereas True Ending, it's like, number one, we don't even know 100% what's faster, and even if we did, like, you could maybe theoretically come up with another route that's like, do this, it's not even which order you're doing stuff, it's do we actually do the stuff. There's some of the things we don't necessarily need. Like, you have to get the 3 dreamers and you have to kill Hornet to get into the abyss. Like, other than that, like, which dreamers, which dream bosses, which dream warriors, you could do the dream trees if you're crazy, which it's definitely not faster, but you could potentially do it if you wanted to. There's just a lot of options, and a lot of different ideas. It's like a router's dream, which I'm not a router, but I would imagine it'd be fun.
Yeah, it definitely has the most like potential for routing stuff.
For sure.
Okay. All right. So let's focus more on you. Okay, so did you speedrun at all before Hollow Knight?
No, I started specifically because of the speedrun achievements in Hollow Knight, and just decided to try to keep going faster because it was fun.
Okay. You know what's funny? Every single person we've interviewed has said the exact same thing.
In Hollow Knight?
No,
or
specifically,
overall, ever?
In Hollow Knight specifically.
Oh,
sorry.
yeah. But the speedrun achievements?
Yeah. Sorry, I should have been more specific. Yes.
Yeah, no.
All four of you have told us they didn't speedrun beforehand, but this is the game that got him into speedrunning. Although Monster technically said that he did a speedrun competition for a rhythm game he played, and I was like, I don't know how that works. But,
yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me.
But he's like, I didn't really take that seriously. I just kind of played it for fun. But this is when I really got into it. I'm like, okay. That's everyone crazy. Seems like Hollow Knight is just like the gateway drug for all y'all.
Yeah, and it you wouldn't, I guess from the outside you wouldn't think it would be, because it's one of those games that's like, oh no, I guess it kind of makes sense, because for like Dark Souls, it's so hard that when you get good at it, it feels rewarding. I feel like Hollow Knight has the same charm, where it's like, it's really hard to outsiders, but once you kind of master it, you're like, hell yeah, I'm fucking sick of this game, and so whenever you get good at it, like, it just kind of leads itself to, well, the bosses aren't really a threat to dying anymore. Let's see if I can do it fast, I guess, is the natural progression of that. That makes sense.
Yeah, there's like a high skill ceiling. So it's like, not only can I just beat the boss, without dying, now I can beat it like in a minute 30.
Yeah.
Or, and now I can beat it in a minute flat. Like, okay. It's like, oh goddamn, you're a boss.
Lets you show off your skills,
Yeah. Lets you flex on them. Okay. So when did you first start running?
I started running in November of 2017.
Okay.
I started with any percent because that was basically what the achievement was just beating the game in general. And I ran for 9 months, and I only ran any percent the entire time until I got world record for the first time.
Okay.
And I'm probably my biggest flaw is I'm not a fan of running against my own records. It's just not fun to me. I don't have the fire at all. Like I have negative motivation. I don't know, if I'm running against my own record, unless I'm trying to break like a number barrier, which is, I kind of feel like I'm running against the number barrier, not against myself.
Mhm.
Then I don't know. I have no desire. It just doesn't feel fun to me. And so that's whenever I saw that Scurry was running all skills and true ending, and I was like, I don't know, true ending sounds fun. I guess I'll go do that since I have 80% record and wait for somebody to beat me there.
All right. So whenever you first started playing any percent, were you just like, I'm going to beat my time, or were you like, I'm going to beat the next person on the leaderboard, I'm going to get to the top, or?
Yeah, I think I definitely started with I'm going to beat my own time, and I just wanted to see self-improvement. That's just what's fun to me, is watching myself get better.
Mhm.
And then once I got to around like the 40-minute mark, maybe a little bit earlier than that, me and Scurry started noticing that me and him were both improving at a similar rate, and like he would get above me and then I'd get above him. We just went back and forth over and over until we got like really close to the top. And we made a joke, like we were both at like 40 minutes or something, maybe 37 minutes, where we're like, man, what if we just like keep bopping each other back and forth till we're 1 and 2 on the leaderboard? That'd be sick. Like, and just fast forward like a year and a half later, and we both were number 1 and 2 on the leaderboard. We actually did it.
There you go.
Yeah, and then he doesn't like to run the same thing over and over. He definitely likes to skip around more than I do. But so like even before, like he was just interested in getting a good time at any percent, and then he was like, oh well, I'm going to take a break and go run all skills and true ending. Whereas I ran literally nothing but 80%, submitting 1 second PBs until I got record, and then decided to give true ending a try.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So talking about Scurry, you just met him or noticed him on the leaderboard, or you guys in the Discord, or how did you guys like hook up and notice like, oh yeah, we're like neck and neck and kind of going back and forth a lot? Or
yeah, I think we're both pretty active in the Hollow Knight Discord, but at the same time, I think we just both saw each other on the leaderboard like constantly. Every time we'd PB is like, oh hey, I beat Scurry, and then like you'd go away for a couple days, and then you'd look and get a PB, and you submit it. You're like, oh, I beat Scurry again. Okay, I didn't even notice he went above me. Like that just happened like 6 times, and I was like, okay, so me and him are just gonna keep going back and forth, I guess. And yeah, I saw him obviously talking to the Hollow Knight Discord all the time, so we definitely we met through the game, but he's probably the person I've been the most friends with, I guess, in the Hollow Knight community. And like we were rivals for a long time.
okay, neat.
Yes.
I definitely think that having like a friend to run with makes the game a lot more interesting.
Oh, easily.
You pick somebody out, and you're like, hey, you and me. It's like,
Yeah.
Talk
Tenfold.
shop. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So you pick up any percent world record, and then you're like, well, Scurry's doing that over there. Let's go to true ending. Right? When roughly was that?
That was
I think
July 2018.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because it was
9 months.
Yeah, because I got record on my birthday in 2018, July 22nd, and then 4 days later I got my first true ending PB in July 26, 2018.
Let's go birthday PB.
I know, right? Yeah, birthday world record. It was like the best present.
Okay. So when you started, you said that was in June or July?
July 2018.
18. What was the world record then? Did Scurry have the world record?
I can tell you. I think he did. It was... Oh, the day before he had beaten his own record of... Wow, yeah, the day before I got my first PB, he broke his own record, and it was now a 1:16:05 on July 25th, 2018.
You know what's funny is that even though this is like a history that spans not even 3 years, I guess it is exactly 3 years.
Yeah, about 3 years.
I'm like having a hard time with the timeline because I'm like, when did you start? When did you start playing? When did you join the category? When did you start playing? Right, like.
And
I don't
that's what Axe was saying. Like he thought it was too early for this game to make a world record, but I was like, I think we squished a lot of history into just 3 years. Like we've done a lot, and we have a lot of records. I think if it goes too long, eventually you get to a point where you're gonna have to make a 3-hour video, or you're gonna have to give every record like 3 seconds of screen time. Like I think because speedrunning is so popular nowadays, that a newer game can actually have a lot of history really fast if it's an active community, which Hollow Knight is.
Yeah, exactly. I would say I wouldn't do a video like this for just any game. Like what's like if Doom Eternal, right?
Yeah,
Doom
yeah.
just came out. Like I wouldn't do that in a year or 2 years. You know,
Yeah.
I maybe wait a little bit because I feel like there's going to be a lot of play initially, and then it's going to drop off a lot. Like, is anyone still running Doom 2016?
I don't know. My example, because I'm obsessed with Kingdom Hearts, was going to be Kingdom Hearts 3. Like it just came out in a year and 3 months ago, and like I can only imagine them having so many world records. You know, like I don't know. Obviously, every game has like a big pop at the beginning, but then you know what are we doing since then? Like, is it still going? But Hollow Knight just seems to never like. It's just I don't know. It feels like until Silksong comes out, it's just never going to die. Like people just like having the record and you know going against each other.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think there's a story here, right?
Yeah.
The earliest history is kind of like, you know, people are playing the true ending, and it's kind of like we said earlier, it's one of those huge routing sort of problems, like a traveling salesman problem of like, how do we get to all these things efficiently, right? How do we do all these things? And people are sort of playing around with it, and they're trying things, and some things work, some things don't work. And then eventually Monster comes in and reroutes the whole thing, and it's like way fucking faster now. And then slowly but surely, it's like, oh hey, Monster comes back and saves 20 minutes off the run somehow. He PBs by 20 minutes just because he's a god gamer.
Yeah, he is. He really is.
And then from there, it's like, okay, now we can start like shaving off a bit more and optimizing more. And but then there's the whole like rivalry between you and Scurry and things, and the Monster comes back in, and there's like just saving so much time back and forth over time. And even in a short period of time, you guys have really optimized the game a lot, it feels like.
Yeah.
So.
And like with Monster, it just feels like whenever he either starts a category or even comes back to a category, he does this thing, and I see it all the time on Twitch where I'll see him start up his stream, and he's not even running, he's just looking at every room and thinking, how can we fix this? And like, even if it's not like, it's just rooms that I would have never even thought about. Like I would have never thought that we could do that any faster. And then he's like, no, I came up with a new strat. And like, it's just this much better, or this much more consistent, or this much faster. And he does it all the time. And for some reason, I probably should do that, but I never have. Like whenever I go back to a category, I'm just like, okay, let me just see if I can play better. Like, but he really looks at, okay, I'm going to play better, and I'm going to fix all these different strategies and do all these different rooms differently. And it's really cool to see. I love whenever he comes back to a category because he just makes the category better. Yeah,
it's nuts. There are people like that. Like, I wish I was like that.
Yeah, same.
You know? Like, I wish I could just walk in and be like, you know, I think we're not doing this the best. Let's try and do it better, right? But
it's like the ultimate coming in with a new fresh set of eyes, except for it's his eyes every time.
yeah, it's just his own eyes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Man, that's nuts. Okay, so we were 2018. You had just picked up True Ending, and then how long was it before you got the record? Did you play True Ending until you got record?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me see. My first record was the 1:12:07, so September 5th, whatever that is.
That'd be like
months?
two. Yeah, I was gonna say 2-ish, 3-ish months.
Yeah. Oh no, wait, that's a month and like 2 weeks, I think, right? End of July and then August, September.
Oh yeah, so it would be end of July. Yeah, okay. So August and September. Okay. So about a month and a half.
Yeah.
Were there any new discoveries or anything like that, or was it mainly just you guys were just optimizing?
Like I said, I'm really not somebody that like I don't know. I'm really bad at routing. I don't really do much of it. I just okay, give me what you guys are doing, and I'm going to try to do it better. If that makes sense. So I essentially didn't change much as far as like, unless they told me that something was like way better and I needed to switch it. And even then, I'm really stubborn. Like, if they tell me something is like a half a second time save, but it's like harder or makes me like have to do a couple hours of practice or something, I'm just like, I'll just lose that 0.5 seconds. Like I don't know. I like to almost run on autopilot until certain sections of the run where I give like a lot of focus. Whereas the stuff that's like, if I'm comfortable with it and it doesn't save that much time, I know it's like dumb, but like it's just the way I've always operated. Like I basically just want to give little effort to some parts so that I can give like all of effort to the stuff that I think is hard or I have a lot of time saved or whatever. So I don't really change much other than what needs to absolutely be changed. If it's like even my second to last or third to last record, I don't remember. I think it was the 106.51. We already knew about like killing Vengefly King saved like 8 seconds, but I wasn't doing it because in true winning, I did it in the other categories, but because the geo was so tight and that cut out like 10-ish geo, and I didn't want to do that, and I didn't like killing Vengefly King because it's just annoying and precise, and so like I would even like get a record, and like I knew that there was stuff I could have been doing faster, but I just didn't like it.
Okay, I gotcha. I mean, I get that idea. It's just it's definitely harder to it's a hard sell. Hey, you're gonna lose 50% more of your runs. And you have the opportunity to save less than a second. It's like, miss me with that.
I get like teased about doing boomer strats all the time, and it's like
I was gonna say,
but I mean, to be fair, like I know what works for me. If I'm still getting records, like if there was all of a sudden like a huge drought and I didn't get anything for like 6 months, okay, maybe we'll start talking about it. But like if I'm still able to like pull off things like this, like I don't know. I guess in their minds, in the long run, it's not going to work out for me because eventually you'll get to the point where we have to do those things. But then I'll just do those things then. But like as of right now, it's not required. So I don't know.
I gotcha. I was going to say, I think Fireborn and Scurry both said you do boomer strats sometimes.
Boomer strats, yeah. It's a bit of a meme right now. That's fine.
It's all good. Hey, you're the world record holder, so
yeah. Hey, boomer strat. They were making fun of me for boomer strats in the entire tournament, and guess who's in the finals on winner's side? This guy.
How was the tournament going, by the way?
Oh, it finished in November, I think. I was in the finals versus Fireborn.
Oh, okay, yeah, gotcha. Okay, I thought there was.
Did you win?
No, I lost the first race by 5 or 6 seconds or something, and I lost the second one by 0.05.
The way you said that was weird. It was like, well, guess who's in the finals? How was the tournament? Oh, it's over.
Yeah, I said, yeah. I guess I just who was in the finals. Like, I think I said who's in the finals, but that could have been who is or who was.
Who was?
So,
yeah.
My bad.
I get you. No, it's all good. Because I remember, bit off topic. I remember thinking I heard something about an Ika Aid tournament for Hollow Knight. So I wasn't sure if
we were supposed to do a race between a 4-way race between Pest, Fire, me, and Scurry, and they ended up getting really busy with school, and I completely failed on like setting it up basically. And then we were going to, as an incentive, do a 2-person 1 controller 2v2 of any percent. Which I think would have been fun. Somebody just showed us like some program that they had that made it to where we could like 2-player 1 controller like over the internet essentially.
Jesus.
Which apparently it works really well. I don't believe it, but I hope it's I hope it's actually really smooth or whatever. But
I want to see
think
that.
That'd have been hilarious. Like especially with like 4 of the best runners,
Man, I'm just trying to think. I guess that kind of plays into. Do you think that your play style would play with other people? Like, I know that Hollow Knight is kind of a game that's like, it's obviously you're just jumping around and fighting and stuff and attacking and doing stuff, but that requires a lot of like concentration and skill. But everyone kind of does it differently, right?
Yeah.
So, do you think you're like drift compatible with anybody?
That's a good question. Maybe not. I didn't even think about that. But like for example, I've kind of given the comparison. You remember in the speedrunning or the Melee documentary where he talks about like he can tell the playstyle of who he's watching just by watching the character because they can kind of express themselves through the character. Like I feel like Hollow Knight has glimpses of that. It's not like, there's some rooms where you're just going to dash across, but like with the Watcher Knights, for example, I can tell if fires from everybody else's just because of the way he does it. Like I know it's different, and I know like it looks sick. I'm kind of scared to do it because it's cool, but it looks really tight. So no, I don't. Maybe if we did do 2 players, 1 controller, it would probably be like one of us trying to do one thing and the other one's like completely different, and it just wouldn't be. You'd have to like play all these fights safe and stuff. I don't know. But yeah, I do think you can definitely tell in certain segments, especially boss fights, like everyone plays just a little differently, and you can see it.
I'd be curious if someone took a bunch of boss fights, just random boss fights from different players' runs, and then sort of was like, all right, who is who? Like, can you match?
Like a little quiz game. Like that'd be cool.
That could be interesting. It'd really test people's knowledge of like, oh yeah, I watch Vysuals all the time. I know exactly how I was going to do this fight. Right.
The funny part, I might be the easiest to identify. So it'd be like, oh, what he doesn't do, Homothety Fireball? That's Vysuals for sure.
Okay, there you go. See, yep. Oh, Boomer Strats? Oh, definitely Viz.
Boomer Strats, yeah, that's Viz.
Okay. So speaking on that, do you have any comments on like the other people as runners? Like who is Scurry as a Hollow Knight runner? Right? Can you describe him?
Yeah. Scurry is somebody who I used to look at as like the beacon of consistency. Like whenever he would do runs, it just, I don't know, man. Like if I had a record or if he was above me like early in any percent and I saw him like deep into a run, I'm like, that's going to beat me. Like 100% I already know. Like it was so good at like the epitome of cool, calm, and collected. I only saw him get angry one time, and it was in White Palace where he had a really good run, and there's just a part where you have to pogo on this little lantern thing or lamp to get up to like a little small sequence break, and if you break it, there's a secondary thing you can break to the left with a little bit harder, and he broke both and he couldn't get up, and like he just like I don't remember what he did. I think he like hit his desk or like screamed or not screamed, but like just gave a little like angry, I don't know. And that's like the only time I've ever seen him upset. And so whenever he ran, he just really calm, really collected, and yeah, just I used to think that he was the consistent one, and I could do like in my mind I had a higher high or like a more peaks with more valleys. Yeah, exactly. I think lately I've become a lot more consistent, but back in the early days I definitely felt like his consistency was unmatched.
Okay. What about Monster?
Monster is it's just terrifying. If he starts something like a category, it's literally like a week, and he just takes record from me. I'm just like, how? Like this guy is insane. Like I had all skills record like the other day, and he had never even run all skills from what I know, and literally like 3 days later I saw like a 6 on his attempt counter, and he was like a couple seconds behind me, and I was like, are you kidding me? Like can you calm down? And then like just like a week later he takes record by I don't remember how much, but I know he took record, and then like a week after that he got the first 50, where I got the first 51 of a 51-53, and he got the first 50 of 50-59, and like within a week I was like, dude, why is he so good? He's just so precise. Like he just doesn't seem, I don't know, like he just doesn't mess up, man. He's actually a robot. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I noticed that from just talking to him. Whatever I was like, yeah, I saw that Homothety or Trinomi was no, it was Trinomi. Trinomi was pushing down the time, and he was saving like a couple seconds here, a minute here, and then I come in and I PB'd by 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, how did you do that? He goes, oh well, I just kind of I've been playing. I play 100% a lot, and so I just use my knowledge to sort of to just do better.
To just play better. I just played a lot better and did better.
I just got good forehead.
He just got good, dude. That's exactly what it is, dude. He's just nuts. Like even looking at the graph, it's like Forrest has it, Monster Shaves what is that, 19 minutes, and then Trinomi gets it by 2 minutes, 2.5, and then he drops it another 20. Trinomi beats him by 2 seconds. He drops it another 6 minutes. Like he's just, it's like whenever other people are fighting for seconds, he's fighting for dozens of seconds. It's crazy. Like
his scale is just so much further.
Yeah.
Beyond.
It's like where in categories like everybody will be fighting for a sub whatever it is. Let's just say sub hour, for example. It's like he'll be at 105 and everybody's like, oh man, is sub 1 hour possible? And he's like, I'm over here thinking is sub 50 minutes possible. Like he's already on the next 2 levels. Like it's he has no concern for like, I mean, I know he does do the whole, we want to break the minute barrier thing, but at the same time, it's like, it's almost like that's just a front he puts on and he's already thinking past that.
Yeah, that's so nuts. It's just like he's just waiting for his time. Like, oh yeah, I'll just get that next week.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, he's. I mean, I love the confidence. I think it's sick.
Do you does he stick to any one particular category for a while? So he just bounces around, or? Well,
he sticks to a category until he accomplishes the goal he wants. I know most of the time it's world record, or it might be even if he has world record or doesn't have world record, maybe it'll be like, I want to get a sub 120 or whatever. But if anybody jumps around categories, it's Monster, because I think he's had, honestly, I think I asked him how many overall records he's had in main categories, and he's the only one that like dwarfs my number. Like I'm at like 17 or something. I don't remember exactly, but I think he's in like the 30s or something, or at least the high 20s. Yeah, he's had it in like 100%, 100, 106, 112, all skills now, true ending. I don't remember if he's at 80%, but I wouldn't be surprised at all. No, he has. Yeah, I just looked. Yep, he's had it like literally in every category, and he jumps around all the time, just whatever he feels like. I remember before 2019 came out, he had a came out before 2019 ended.
Yeah, the 2019 expansion pack.
Yeah. Can we return the 2020 expansion pack?
Maybe some more time in the oven.
Yeah. He made this list. I don't remember if it was a pre 2019 ending or a pre Silksong coming out, which we thought would all maybe be done by now, but whatever. He made this list of like things he wanted to accomplish before then, and it was like all over the map. He just like, oh, I want to break this number barrier in this category. It's never been done. I want to take record in this category, take record in this category. It was like 7 things, and I was like, geez, this guy like just wants to dominate the game, which I respect more than anything. Like, if you want to achieve greatness, like that's, I'm all for it.
Sounds like it. Yeah. I'm just curious. I wonder what it'd be like if he sat down and actually focused on one category, like to the utmost degree. You know what I mean? Like,
no, he would push it past any limits anybody thought was possible for sure. Like right now, for example, in 80%, I don't know if maybe short categories just aren't his forte, but right now we've all wanted a 32 for a long time, and Fire was the only one that even get close. He's at a 33.07 right now, and we've all like, our combined sum of best for the community is like a 33.20 something, and so we know it's possible, but it's just really hard, really, really, really hard to get everything to go right. But I have no doubt, give this guy, I'm not even joking, like 3 months at most, and he would definitely have 32. I don't know if he doesn't want to or doesn't feel like it's worth it, but yeah, him, like, and don't get me wrong, easily I think Fire could do it too. He hasn't run it seriously since that 33.07, but I think either of them, if they sat down for an extended amount of time and just had the drive to do it, they could do it.
Okay. Do you think that sub hour would be possible in true ending?
I know this is going to sound like one of those like, oh, we could never do for sub 5 minutes in Super Mario Bros, but it just doesn't feel possible in any way. Like, I know every time I come back to the game or to the category, I break another community sum of best, but I don't know, man. Like, I just don't see where we can save it, because I think our community sum of best is a 103.40 something. I just don't know where we get 3 minutes. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I'm saying I don't know if community sum of best will ever be sub 1 hour, let alone a run. There's no way a run ever, because especially with the slowdown that's inevitably going to happen when Silksong comes out, unless it's just the worst speed game. Like, I have no doubt it's going to be fun, but a lot of us saw what they did with like updating Hollow Knight, and we're worried that maybe Silksong is going to be like that new brand of Team Cherry that just doesn't like speedrunning. And so, but inevitably, progress on Hollow Knight's going to slow down. I just don't think I don't think sub-hour and training is ever going to happen, and I think most of the top runners would agree with that. Like, it just doesn't seem like it's even feasible.
Yeah, I've heard that the same. I think I even heard it from Monster himself that sub-hour wouldn't be possible in the current state. Like, the current route just is not going to happen.
Yeah, unless there's some glaring flaw, or like that some time save that we just don't understand right now, or if potentially like a new rule change made a glitch that used to be major now minor that we could use or something. But other than that, like, I just don't. Yeah, it doesn't make sense, especially with the current route. I'll put money that the current route will never be sub-hour, but there's always maybe some kind of reroute that we're not thinking of, but they're really good at it. So
yeah, I'm curious, what are some of those glitches? You said that if a major glitch became a minor glitch. I know of like there's like the out of bounds storage thingy, right? Which is using 80%. What are some of the other glitches that are like on the fence of major versus minor?
On the fence, well, Televator is one that we had a vote about, that essentially just makes it to where you do this like really, it's a pretty simple series of inputs where you're like next to an elevator that's at the bottom, and you like hit the lever, jump off of it, and then jump up and hit the lever again or something. I don't remember the exact inputs, but it's not very complicated. And it just, for some reason, just teleports you to the top of the elevator. Like, without the elevator even being up there, it just puts you to the side of it, like not even on the elevator, you're just to the side. So there's one super long elevator after Watcher Nights on the way up to Lurian that takes like, we just jump on the elevator for like 2 seconds, and then we hit it back down and we jump up the left wall. And that takes like 10 seconds or so, maybe a little bit shorter. But so like Televator right there would be like big, because it's like you wouldn't have to go all the way up. Lever skip is one that it's borderline, but it's already a minor glitch. But it's borderline because we never actually had a discussion about it. Whenever it's only available on this patch, on the one that we run on, 1.2.2.1.
Yep.
And yeah, it lets you hit the levers through the floor. And somebody named Ushebdi just did it in a run and never didn't say anything. Like, never, like, once he discovered, I assume he discovered it. Once he did it in an 80% run and got a record, or maybe it wasn't a record, maybe it was PB, but whatever, he submitted it and then it got verified. And then people were like, wait, what did he do? Like, and they were like, oh, well, I guess that's just a minor glitch now. And we just never had a discussion. So like, it's been brought up a bunch where people are talking about other glitches and whether they should be legal or not. And they're like, well, if lever skip is legal, then this should be legal. It's like, well, lever skip's not really fair to compare to, because we didn't even have the discussion. We don't know if we would have voted against or for it. Like, it's pretty borderline. And I guess like the various forms of storage, like bench storage and stuff, like those are our major glitches. But like, there's been a couple where one of them, like whenever we die to do the shade skip, you can use storage to open up the inventory before you die. So you can just put your cursor on the shaman stone, and it actually doesn't save time in that iteration of it. But it just allows you to where you don't have to like hit inventory really fast, scroll over to the right, and then put your cursor on shaman stone. You could just have it sitting there and waiting for the opportunity to, or like, so you can just put it on as fast as possible.
Right.
That was recently banned because it was like too close to being like actual storage. But maybe if they found one that was like sort of glitchy and people were like, we just want to use it. Like, we just had one today that allows you to store // like, so you charge up your nail, and whenever you hit dash and let go of the nail button, it'll do like those super long // we don't have it in True Ending, but it was just voted to where a glitch that was found like 2-3 days ago, where you could charge it up and then inventory drop, and you could let go of the nail button and nothing would happen. And then once you close the inventory, the next time you dashed, it would /. So basically you could do like a long inventory drop and then dash and immediately /. Whereas like normally you would have to do the inventory drop and then charge up again and then dash. So that's going to save time in like all skills in 106% or whatever. But yeah, stuff like that. Like if it just seems interesting enough and it's not too busted, like a lot of people are just like, yeah, it might be interesting to have in the category, whatever.
Yeah, just like, it's not a big deal. As long as it doesn't, create some like crazy new strat. It's like, just allow it.
Yep.
So I think Monster had told me something that they did have a discussion about / or hitting the lever through the wall, but I don't remember the specifics of what he said, and I will ask him to clarify because I thought he said something. There was something going on. There was a discussion.
So the original lever skip was the one in Spire where you hit upwards through the floor and then the room stays black when you go through it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also hitting levers through the wall that's only available on this patch where / specifically you can. I know they used to use it to get Shade Soul, where instead of fighting the Soul Warrior, you go up top and you / and it goes through the gate and hits the lever on the other side. They might have discussed that. I don't know if that was before or after, but I know like the lever skip that's used in 80% apparently wasn't discussed. Like
Gotcha.
Chevrolet did that one, but yeah, they might have discussed the using nail arts to get through walls, because I know we do it a lot in all skills, and I know we used to do some of it in True Winning, and I'm pretty sure that I want to say my first record used that. If not my first record, my first PB for sure, because I know that's what I learned, and then they changed it like right after I learned it. So maybe I didn't even finish a PB, but I know that was the first thing I was learning.
Okay, cool. I'll verify because that sounds more accurate. I remember he said something about someone like, "Hey, look what I can do! I got a new strat." And he hit a lever through the floor or the ceiling or whatever. I don't know. So that sounds more like what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Did I ask you about Fireborn yet? I know I asked you about Scurry and Monster. What are your comments on Fireborn as a Hollow Knight runner?
So Fire is probably the closest thing I had to like an idol. Like he was the guy. He was like, I respect more than anything people that like strive for greatness and want to actually like grind it out and put in the effort to be the best. And Fire is that to a T. He's just unbelievable when it comes to this game and anything he wants. Like in Cuphead, he discovered the weapon swapping glitch where like you go back and forth between two weapons and it lets you basically double your DPS.
That was him.
The one, yeah, that was Fireborn. And I know he ran that a little bit, and I asked, and the funny part is the first interaction I ever had with him was I thought I discovered two things. In reality, I discovered half a thing, but I just randomly whispered him, and I was like, "Hey, I saw your world record run." And this is whenever he had it like 6 times in a row or something. He just kept beating his own record. And I was like, hey, there's this one thing that I noticed that you didn't do. And apparently he already knew it. He just missed it or whatever. And this other thing, when you pay for the toll on the way to Crystal Peaks, if you heal, it actually saves like 1.5 seconds. And he was like, wait, actually, I didn't know that. That's interesting. And so he went and tested it out. And instead of healing, I don't know who did it first. I always just say both. It was Babai and Scurry. They both went and looked into it, the healing thing, and instead of healing, saving, like, because the toll normally goes down and then the gate goes down, but when you heal, it makes both of them go down at the same time. So it saves about 1.5 seconds. But Scurry and Babai noticed that after you pay, instead of healing, if you just look down with the camera, it saves 3 seconds. Like the gate goes down first and then the toll. And so, yeah, so that like everyone always calls it the Scurry look down. And it's like, but they found it because of me. But no, I messaged that to Fireborn, and that's how we ended up with the look down. But I don't know. Whenever I was coming into the game, everyone just knew he was the god gamer. He was super good. He had record in this category, but he didn't seem too interested in it. He's always just been like the 80% guy. And for the people who don't know, like he was super sick at Hollow Knight when I came in. And then when Celeste came out, he was one of the first to go over there with Mag and Babai. They all three, they're like all three super good friends. They all went to Celeste. And then there was a day where we were doing community races of 80%, and there was like 6 or 7 of us. And he was like already not the world record holder at the time. Trinomi was. And one day we just were setting up this race. There's like 4 or 5 of us, and he just pops in. And he's like, "Hey, can I join?" We're like, "Of course you could join. What's up, man? Like, we haven't talked to you in forever." And then he just drops record in the race, and we're like, what? Have you even been playing? And he was like, no, I just decided to come back and play. And he just drops world record in the race. And Chernomi actually in that race got a kind of rare soft lock on Hornet where she just gets like frozen animation wise in the floor or like in the wall or whatever. And he couldn't finish or he lost a couple minutes having to like save quit or whatever. And he lost his record because of that, and then 6 hours later in the middle of the night he just takes record back. So we had 2 records in like 6 or 7 hours, and like it was pretty nutty. But Fire is just like, he just seems like whenever he wants to, he's just again like Monster, like when he puts his like mind to something, he's just incredible. And I don't know, he just also is pretty like, I'm the only one that's like loud and brash, whereas the other 3 are like super calm and like don't really raise their voice or anything. I'll like scream and rage and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I noticed from talking to them, they all of them are like super like, yeah, I was playing this game and it's a lot of fun, and
they're all mellow. I know.
Oh man, I was gonna say something and I forgot.
Didn't IG? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Didn't IGN write an article that you were in? Yes.
Oh wait, about I was in?
Were you in it, or was it just Hollow Knight?
I was in a Kotaku article.
Oh, sorry, Kotaku. I apologize.
Yeah. But that was about my my GDQ run. The articles that I know of, maybe I just realized IGN. No, that was Fire. When he got the record, they like put up his run as the record, and he beat it like a week later. It was like in his streak of recent Hollow Knight world records, and like they just picked one in the middle, and then like he beat it shortly after. But yeah, I know on IGN's YouTube channel they had a Hollow Knight run, and it was his record.
Nice. I remember what I was gonna say. Talking to Monsta also said that Fireborn is like a god. Like he's untouchable. Like if he wants something, he is just untouchable. He's unbeatable in that way.
Yeah, it's funny because like I know, we all joke that Monsta wants to like whenever he puts his mind to something he can do it, but we also all feel that way about Fire. And if Fire wanted to, he could be pushing us in trueing easily. Like I know he could just rise to the top so fast. But I don't know. He just is more interested in just any percent and then like meme categories. Like I know he did the AK-47 run.
That's an AK-47 run?
Yeah, somebody just modded an AK-47 into the game, and it just gives you like an unlimited ranged attack, and it's really funny. Yeah, Fire. He likes farming YouTube views because he has a really big YouTube following.
Interesting.
And so, like, other than his any percent runs, obviously getting a lot of views, he has like whenever Path the Pain first came out, he did like a Path the Pain hit list and it got like 1 million views on his YouTube. He did like Nightmare King Grim right after it came out hit list, and that obviously gets a lot of views. And recently he's done a lot of like mods to make the game really hard. Like he did Path the Pain with the dark mode where you can't really see anything other than like a couple of like inches around you.
Oh boy.
And yeah, Path the Pain's really like precise platforming, so he did that, and I'm assuming that got a bunch of views. I can actually check. But yeah,
that's a Hollow Knight mod?
Yeah, there's like a bunch of them.
Goodness.
Yeah, they got 32,000.
Jesus Christ. Sorry, someone posted a message. Mike posted a message earlier that we're all in the studio. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna move off of that so I don't see that. Okay. That's all the big ones then. So you mentioned GDQ. I wanted to. I've heard the story from CJ, but I want to hear it from you. So you and Scurry keep going back and forth, and you want to have the world record going to GDQ because you finally get Hollow Knight into a GDQ 2019.
Yes,
and you want to have the record when you go there.
Of course.
Right, but what was the time that what was the world record sort of like at the end of the year of 2018? Like what were we going into like in like November and December? Like what was the time at?
So I'm going to try to give this timeline as good as I can remember. So Scurry had the record for from the end of September through October through November, and around halfway through November. Okay, so if I remember right, the game list got released in October, if I remember right. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be in the marathon. That's crazy. And I was like, okay, I want to have record, but at the same time, I don't want to just do nothing but true ending from now until GDQ because I don't want to burn myself out. I want to like keep myself kind of fresh on it, just keep myself fresh in the game in general, run some other stuff. And then once GDQ starts getting close, I'll start going hard. And I'll try to take record right before. So on November 19th, I took the record with a 109.45. And then right after that, on 3 days later, Scurry took it back by 16 seconds. And then apparently 2 days after that, holy crap, I took it back by 17 seconds on November 24th.
You even surprised yourself.
Yeah, I forgot about that. And I know somewhere in this section, there's like a part where Scurry got truening any percent in all skills record like within like 4 days. And then I did the same thing like not that much later. I don't remember exactly the timeline, but I know it was around the end of 2018. We both did it where we got all three in a week. But then apparently nobody had record or nobody took a new record from November 24th to December 29th, which I got it with a 108.22. I could have swore I took it from him, but I guess not. But I know I like was really glad that I got it like 8-9 days before GDQ because I was like, okay, let's just hope I hold on to it for this week. I'm still going to be practicing it, but I'm going to be doing a lot more like no resets and stuff to really prepare. But that 108.22, I actually, if I remember right, I wasn't even really like expecting to like get new PBs or world record or whatever. I was just like trying to keep myself really fresh and like practice the sections that I wasn't 100% on because I wanted to be as like super prepared as I could going into the marathon. And yeah, so I guess 2 days before New Year's, I ended up getting the 108.22 to break the 108 barrier because I broke the 109 in November and then the 108 in December. So that was cool.
I remember hearing something like you and Scurry agreed to do a race, and then you went off to work, and you're like, the whole time you're at work, you're just thinking like, oh man, Scurry's going to take that world record from me. I'm so worried about it. Yeah,
that is. Was that the 106? Yes. So oh yeah, that's right. So Scurry got a 107.09 in June of 2019.
Okay, this is further up then.
Yeah,
okay.
skipping forward a bit, and then what is that? 17 days later, I took it by 1 second with a 107.08, and I had a huge lead going into the Radiance, and just like a combination of a really, really bad pattern and just me playing like I don't want to lose the record here caused me to play it so badly that I lost a ton of time and I only beat the record by 1 second with a 107.08. And I was really upset at myself. Like I couldn't believe how like I fought the Radiance on 1 health on the GDQ stage in front of, however many people watching. And I was fine. I wasn't nervous at all. And then this random record where I could take it from Scurry like 6 months later, I choke. Like it just didn't make any sense to me. I was really upset. And and so I messaged him, or maybe he messaged me, but I think I messaged him like, hey, let's both go for the 106. I want to see who gets it first. Like, let's make this a race. And he was like, okay, that's, I'm down. And so I remember at work, that's like the most I've ever watched his stream while I was at work. I was just listening to his audio and listening to him tell his viewers like, oh, me and him are going to race for the 106. And I was like, God, please don't take it before I even get a chance to stream. Like I just want to get home. And he doesn't get it. And then that day I ended up beating it by whatever that is, 17 seconds. Yeah. With a 106.51. So that was cool.
Yeah. 2 things I want to hit on. We need to talk about the GDQ thing in a second. But the other thing I want to talk about is that it reminds me so much. So Scar, I think on the Scar and Toph show, talked about the anime Akagi.
Yeah, Akagi, yeah. I watched it because of them talking about it.
Yes, I also watched it because of them talking about it. One of these days I'll watch Ping Pong.
Were you as disappointed with the end of Akagi as I was, that it didn't even end?
Season 2? Yeah, fucking awful.
I was so mad that I was like, I noticed that there was like 1 episode left, and I was like, it doesn't even feel like we're anywhere close to the end of this game. How are they going to wrap it up? And then they don't wrap it up, and I couldn't have been more upset.
Yeah, season 2 was a bit of a failure.
Yeah.
But anyways, getting too off topic. That reminds me, because it's like when you're on stage, you have 1 health left. You're like, I'm not even worried. I'm gonna fucking go for it, right?
Yeah.
I'm a legend, right? And
Yep.
and you're like cool as a cucumber, and you're willing to risk it all, right?
Mm.
That's why you were able to do it so well. But then on the time when you're like, oh no, I'm gonna lose record if I fail this fight. No, I'm gonna play safe. I'm gonna try and like, I'm gonna try and hold on to what I have. It's like, you're already dead. I forgot what the line is. Oh, there's a line. I'll remember it later. And it is essentially where it's like in the anime, in the very first like game of mahjong that they're playing. He's like, if you don't die, then there's no way you'll live. Like, if you're not willing to die here, then you cannot live, because you're gonna play the safe way, and they're gonna prey on the safe way. So then that's how you're gonna live.
Yeah, and I definitely feel that, and I think part of it was when I was on the GDQ stage, I just wanted it to be entertaining. I wanted it to look cool, and so the most entertaining thing after I got hit twice, I was like, well, if I die, I guess that that's how it's going to be. But I'm going to see what I can do with 1 health. I think it'd be really interesting. But with the like competitive aspect, it's like that's what I care about. I care about like the actual competition of being the best. So the GDQ run, like I'm like laughing as I'm like barely skimming by like orbs when I'm at 1 health, but whenever I'm, I think I healed. Like I didn't heal on the GDQ stage. I had the soul to do it. I could have healed, but I like wanted it to be more interesting. And it's a little bit easier if you have soul going into that next phase. Whereas at home, whenever I healed in between phases, and it ended up like costing me. So like I think because I played scared was what caused me to choke. Whereas like whenever I was like putting it all on the line, if it happens, it happens. It was kind of a Mango-esque like mentality of like, if I fail, I fail, but whatever, I'm just gonna go for it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think when you kind of let go, it's going to play out better. But then again, I don't know. It's so easy to be like, just don't worry about it, right? When you're But what can you do?
For sure.
All right. So continuing, I think so. You go to GDQ, you finally take that record. Well, it's like you take the record, you go to GDQ, and then it's SGDQ that you have the race. So you've broken a lot of time barriers over time, right? Where are we at now? It's 105 something?
Yeah, right now it's 105.49.
105.49. Are you grinding for a 104 anytime soon?
No. Again, like it's not like I got really lucky that the records before 106 and 105 were a 107.09 and then a 106.06. So it's like they kind of, and they both like stopped right there. And I was like, well, if nobody's going to push it, I'll push it. Like, and so, but no, first off, the 104 would take just stupid odds to even, because like I said, the community summit best is like a 103.40 something, and I am like most of them. I went and like took most of the community summit best. So like, in order to get, it's a really really RNG heavy category. So in order to get even close to that, it's going to be nuts. But again, I don't really like running into my own record. So if I got really lucky again, somebody set up the 105 with a really low 105, I'd be like, okay, well now I want to go get the record and get the 104 because that'd be cool. But until then, I'm gonna have to wait till somebody comes and pushes it.
Okay. You had said this is an RNG heavy category. Can you explain more about that?
Yeah. So there's a couple of spots with like medium RNG, like Hornet 2's pattern can sometimes just be slow, or you don't get like double hits on the fireball, which is like the difference between 40 damage and 80 damage, which is just massive.
Yeah, exactly.
And so there's a lot of RNG in those parts, but then the big ones are Elder Who. Elder Who is pretty early in the run, but he has 2 attacks. Otherwise, he just floats in the air, and one attack he just like brings down these little, I call them stacks of pancakes. I don't really know what they are, but they're just little gold like stacks of cylinders or gold cylinders, and he brings them down, and he's still there while those are coming down. He just brings down one set of them. They're like randomly like placed, and you just have to avoid them. And then the other one, he disappears completely, and he has those gold cylinders come down from the outsides of the room toward the inside, just one at a time, or I guess 2 at a time, whatever. And you can't attack him during that whole, because he's just not on the screen anymore. And so you can just get really, like, he can just do that move over and over, and you can only get like 1 or 2 hits in between.
Gotcha.
And if he does that too many times, like, it's catastrophic. Like the 108 22 that I got before GDQ, I lost 17 and a half seconds to that fight. I remember specifically, like I was really irritated that I lost that much time. And then it used to be, okay, so after Umu, it's No Eyes, who No Eyes can just, not only can just give you really bad patterns of like, every time you hit No Eyes, it has a chance to teleport randomly in the room. And so you can get lucky and like get like 4 or 5 hits in a row, including like a fireball or two where you can get double hits on the fireball. But it like you can also just like go to do like a nail fireball nail, and the first nail just teleports away, and like then your fireball just misses and you're screwed. Not only that, but it's also really easy to die to the ghosts in the room because they just bob up and down and they're really obnoxious. And on top of that, after the fight ends, there's like a half a second to a second where the ghosts' hitboxes linger, where the graphic disappears, but the hitbox is still there. So I've actually killed No Eyes and then fell into an invisible hitbox and died a couple times.
That's fine.
And then right after No Eyes, you have to go to Marmu. And on the way to Marmu, there's a room with frogs that jump around. I don't know what they are. They're like spider frogs. And they're completely random, the way they're going to jump, the direction, like everything about them's random. And you only have 5 health. So like you can very easily die on the way there. And even if you don't, like, or if you stop to heal, you're going to lose time. And then Marmu can just give you like horrible patterns and like do these really weird ricochets off the walls and kill you. And so like having those 2 splits back to back was always what I called the gauntlet. And then we discovered Umu 1 cycle, which doesn't work if Umu gives you a random 4th attack on the first phase. So like now you have to deal with all 3 of those in a row, and they're all super RNG heavy. So like that whole split can just kill the run. And then on top of all of that, you get all of that to go right. You get through the White Palace flawlessly, which is an RNG, but it's still very difficult execution wise. You get to the Radiance, and the Radiance can just give you this. It's like if it falls into this rhythm of teleporting above the spikes over and over, it'll just keep doing that because the spikes just go back and forth from the left side to the right side to the left side. And if the Radiance just falls into this rhythm of being above those spikes, you can't really do a lot of damage quickly to her. And so you can either play super risky and like try to like poke on top of her and like avoid nails flying at you while you're up there, or you can just lose a ton of time. And there's been times where like we know that we're like barely have world record possible, and we kind of try to push it, and Radiance just gives you a terrible pattern. So Radiance can also be super RNG heavy, and it's pretty daunting to be at the end of the run, especially with 3 hits kills you.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if I have any more questions for you. CJ, do you have anything?
What?
Hi. Hi.
Sorry, I walked away for a minute.
It's all good. I think I've run out of questions. CJ, do you have anything?
Did you talk about the Kotaku article? I know that you mentioned it briefly, but
no, they just like after the GDQ run, they basically just came out and like talked about how it was a really entertaining run and how the last boss like had them on the edge of their seat or whatever. And yeah, like it was just a pretty positive article about the run. They thought it was really entertaining, and then they put out a second one like I want to say like 5 or 6 days in a GDQ. For some reason, I remember the event not even being over, but they made like a list of like the best runs to watch or whatever, and I was obviously on the list because they had already written a whole article.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I don't really think I have anything. I guess sounds like you got. I mean, we definitely have covered a lot of ground.
We talked for an hour.
Yes. You know, I think one of the things that we make a point of in what we've kind of written so far is like, you kind of went into GDQ, the first one with the record, right? And that was like the important one. But then like you have this crazy streak of not having the record again going into GDQ.
Yeah, these guys have this obsession with waiting until I leave because when I went to AGDQ 19, I had all skills, any percent, and true ending. And I really only cared about the true ending one, but literally as I'm at the event, all skills gets taken. And then like a couple days after I get back, was it true ending? I mean, I'm checking. No, it was any percent. Any percent got beaten. And then February 1st, true ending got taken. So I got all 3 of them taken really quickly. And then SGDQ, the 2 days before I leave for the event, Scurry takes true ending. And then the day before the event, Axe takes 106%. And then for AGDQ, literally the morning of my flight, Monster took true ending from me. And I was like, can you guys stop waiting until GDQ? I can't do anything for a week. Leave me alone.
Yeah. That's the opportunity. It's the opportunity to strike.
Yeah, they see my weakness and they know.
A little chink in the armor. Yeah, I think I'm good. I think I just wanted to get that story out. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool deal. All right, man. Let's go ahead and end the recording.